Hi everyone. Thanks for watching my video. So in this today video, we are going to discuss about like how to create a VPC custom network, and we are going to create a firewall for the created custom network, and then we are going to create a VM instance and going to attach that custom network to it. And later we are going to discuss about the VPC peerings. So this whole topic to give you understand like how that VPC network will be created, what is subnet, and how that communication firewalls is allowing traffic to the network and everything. So I don't want to waste your time. So let's start with the demo. So when you log into the Google Cloud Console, right? So you need to navigate to the VPC network page. So in search bar, you can type VPC. You can select this VPC network page. Once you select this, the page will be open here. And in order to create a custom network, we need to create a VPC network here. And we need to provide first we need to provide the name for it. So I'm just going to give like VPC1 and description, which you require like for what exact use cases network has been created. You can provide the details here and the maximum transition you need, like what is the largest possible IP packets which can fit into that Ethernet interface. So based on the use case, we can select this from this option. It's already there. So let me give that VPC here. Yeah. So in this option, you can select like what is required from your end for the network here. So maximum you can provide like 8896 in order to understand the maximum transmission unit. I'll attach this link in description, so you can just go to it. Later than so I'm going with the default. Later than in the subnet creation, it is an important thing when it comes to the VPC network. So there are two options are there. Like one is custom and one is like automatic. So the first I'll explain about the automatic. So basically subnet means it will create it at the so we need to provide a IP range for that region. So whatever the instance creating at the region, we get that IP from the particular subnet. Internal IPs, I'm talking about private IPs. So in automatic, what happened like Google will already created a subnet per region with the predefined IP ranges. So when you select this automatic, you will be able to see the list of region with subnet. So these are the region. So with that region name, the subnet will be created, and these are the IP ranges. So what will happen? This subnet will be created and managed by Google. And what are the region is newly created in future also, that subnet will be getting added when the new VPC creating with the auto mode which is created. So this is what is like a automatic mode. So in the automatic mode, what happened like when you choose the automatic mode, when you convert to the custom mode, whatever the subnet have presented, it will be same as it is. You can't able to delete or modify the subnets or that IP ranges here. So, but you can able to add the subnet on top of the uh, automatic mode when you convert to the custom mode. But it's a one way, like you can't again from the custom mode you can't convert to the automatic mode. And when you choose the custom mode, Google gives the flexibility. So basically, let me say like here in this way. So when you having working in an organization, the organization uh, will not create subnet which is not required for them, right? For example, they're like a 40 plus regions are there. So, but they're not going to use all these 40 plus region subnets, right? So they're only going to use one or two regions, and they will create a VM instance on that region in order to serve that purpose, right? For that flexibility, Google given this custom mode. Here in the custom mode, here subnet it, right? In the subnet, we need to click on it, we could expand, and we need to fill those details. So here is the same. So the subnet at regional level. So in that region, you first need to provide. So I'm just going to create a subnet at the US Central. So I just provided the name US Central one and region. So region, I'm going to select the same US Central. So the IP ranges. So what is the IP ranges I will give? So I'm going to give like a so this IP range. So what happened when the instance is created from this VPC network subnet? this IP range from this range, IP address from this range will be allocated to VM instance. So to understand better, there is a document as well. So you need to understand more about like subnet, what is a subnet and how to configure, what is the best practice, everything there. So here like that IP range which we are given it, right? The first IP which is a default gateway IP. So all the 0.1 it's starting. So it will not be allocated to any of the VM instance which is getting created. So that it will be usable address will start from the 2 and from the end only. So here like we are going to choose 00/24, and here like you can choose like what IP ranges, like you are looking for like IP4 address or IPv4 or v6 address or both dual stack 4 and 6 address. So it next comes to the private Google private access. So the Google private access is nothing but when there is a connection, like so when your VM instance running on Google Cloud want to access any Google service or any third party service with the within a private with a private IP. So your traffic you don't want to route to the internet, but you want to route to the Google network itself. So for the secure connectivity, Google has provided this service like Google private Google access. So there are many use cases we are using this like private service connect or private Google access, like you want to access any Google Cloud storage, right, which is Google Cloud service only. So you can select this Google private server access. So this is a very big interesting topic. We can discuss in our upcoming videos. Then you can understand better like what are the use case. I mean, whether we are using all this private Google access, yeah, and flow logs. This flow logs like what are the traffic coming and going from your instance, right? When you get instance with this VPC network with the subnet, so what are the traffic was come and going, right? So all the traffic will be captured and it will be present in a cloud logging. So in order to get the logs for it, so it will help you to troubleshoot, monitor, and you can many security things we need a logs, right? So once log we get only we can able to see the metrics and we can do the troubleshoot, we can do the monitoring, everything. So in order to generate the logs, by default, if you will not generate the logs, we need to enable this option here. So I'm not going to change anything here. So okay, let me give that name. So that's it. Let me see. Yeah, they taken that name. And when next we are going to see about the firewall rules. So in this firewall rules, these are the predefined firewall rules. Whenever you create a new piece of what these firewall rules, you can see it in your page. Here, there's a 4 firewall option. You can, if you need it, you can choose it. But by default, the last 2 firewall rules is applied to your VPC network when it gets created. So let me explain all these firewall rules. What is present here, and we can see later. I'll show you like how to create a firewall rules for the network. Here, like this firewall rule for you can say deny all ingress. So we need to understand what is ingress means incoming traffic to the network, and egress means outgoing traffic from the network, right? So basically it will deny all the incoming traffic. So if you see here like incoming traffic apply to all, and port I mean the IP ranges anywhere in the world. So any IPs, we are not targeting only the specified IP, any IP we target, and protocol and port. So if not we are targeting Google by default for the security reason, they were blocking all the IP incoming traffic from the anywhere from the world, right? And action denied and priority 65534. This is that highest priority number. So in order to override that firewall, you need to write priority rule with the I mean less low priority rule. So in GCP, the firewall rule will take precedence which having the low priority. And the second rule, allow all ingress. So basically from your VM instance, it will allow all the outgoing traffic to anywhere in the world. So Google is blocking all the incoming and allowing all the outgoing traffic from your instance. And these are the other firewall rules, whether it is required, you can choose it. And if you see it like ICMP, so in order to check the connectivity, we are using this protocol. So if you want, you can, but you can. So RDP, like we can use it for the remote desktop. I mean, remote instance, like connecting over the internet. So for that, like we are using like TCP protocol and port number 338, right, to connect over the remotely to the Windows instance. So are your instances SSH, I mean Linux instance, right? So you want to do SSH for your instance. So you need to follow this protocol anywhere from the IP, TCP, and 22. So these are the firewall rules are there, but I'm not going to choose any rule. But by default, it will going to have this two firewall rule applied and dynamic routing mode. So there are two options. By default, we do have the regional and global. I mean regional, and there is one more option called global. So regional, like what the cloud router, so which is probably I mean needed route the traffic, right? So your cloud router only learn the routes in the region in which they are created, and global. So global routing let you learn routes dynamically to and from all the regions within a single VPN or interconnected router. So we are not going to use any multi-texture architecture thing. So we are just going to create a new instance, and I'm going to test the connectivity from my local machine to the instance which is running on Google Cloud. So I'm not going to choose any other thing, and I'm going to get created. So it will take us some amount of time. So meanwhile, I'll pause this video once it gets created, and again I'll start the video again. Yep, that VPC network has been created. You can see that we have created VPC3, right? So in this, we can see like what is the subnet we have created. So we have created a US center and VPC IP address we have provided. This is the IP that. So from this IP only that IP address will be provided, and we have choose the stack type IPv4 address we are required for the VM instance. And we are not, yeah, the gateway IP address is taken at 0.1, so it will not assign to any VP address. And Google, private Google access, it's turned off, and VPC flow off, so it ends. So, and also here is so many options, so you can just look into it. Static internet address. So, if you want to configure the static internal IP for this particular any particular VM instance in the network, you can do it. You need to create a static internal IP address for it. There's so many options are there. So if you just look into it, it's better to understand everything here. But in this lab, we are going to create a VM instance with the with this network which we have created. Right? So when you create an instance, right? So we are going to provide a instance name, demo group. You can just give demo name. And the one thing I need to add it here like a region. So in this region, we need to it should be matched with the subnet region with the instance region. So if you choose the different region it here, but it is in a subnet that region it's I mean in a VPC network, we are not having any subnet on that particular region means that subnet will not be attached to this VM instance. Let me show you when I creating it, when I attaching the VPC network. So for this lab purpose, I'm not going to run any workloads, right? So I'm just going to use a phone macro. And identity and access API. This is a very interesting topic, and I will create a separate video for the and a firewall role. So for instance level, you can say that you can allow this firewall like HTTP and HTTP traffic. If your application, I mean, if there any workloads are required, this firewall needs to be allowed for this instance. So I'm not running anything, right? So I'm just keeping as it is. And in this networking interface. So in this networking interface, if you see the networking interface, by default, it having a default VPC, right? So I'm going to choose network which I get created VPC3. And you can see that the subnetwork you is central to and IP4, and this is the IP range, like if you see it here. And let me show you, as I mentioned, like if I choose any region apart from the subnet network range, if you can see that subnet which we are not created on that particular range, it will not pick any subnetwork for the thread. So we need so by this way also we can restrict like RV instance or what are the instance we are creating. It will be created on the same region, only particular region which we have in the subnet created. And here like a primary internal IPv4 address. So if you see it here, FRML automatic. So is some any IP address which will be allocated from that this particular range and external IPv4 address. So if you want to have your VM instance should have public IP, you can just go ahead with FRML. Or you do want to reserve any external static extract, you can reserve it and you can attach it. Or if you don't want your VM instance with a public IP, you need to select
None here. I might need a public IP in order to access from my local machine to the VM instance which is created in Google. So let me go with all the default configuration and create it. So let me pass this video till my VM instances get created. Once it's created, I'll just resume this video. Yeah, our instance was created. So if you see it here, that in the IP address which is that I've allocated as like a two. So one is it is already due to the default gateway, and you can see it external IP. So I'm going to bring this IP from my local machine. So let me here, like I do not allow that ICMP firewall role to the particular VPC network, right? So that my traffic which is going to the VMs are getting blocked. So I'm just going to create a firewall to allow the firewall rule of the ICMP packet. So let me go to the VPC network, and I here like once you select the VPC network, there is an option for firewall. So you need to select this and create a firewall rule. So here firewall rule which is going to create it. So I'm just going to give VPC firewall, right? So this is three firewall. So we give this name and logs. So if you need to enable logging for this firewall rule, you can turn it on. Otherwise, by default, you can turn it off. And one thing you need to mention, so which can increase cost and logging. So if you enable like the cost, yeah, based on the logs, the cost will get increased. So keep in mind of that. And I'm going to select that network here. So as I mentioned, what are the firewall the rule we are creating it? It should be created at the VPC level only. So you need to select in that VPC. You can drill down like what target you want this firewall reach to provide. That you can do, but you need to select the VPC so that only that firewall rule will attach to the VPC. So the priority, if you see 1000, if you see the priority, it start from 0 to 65535. But if you what the as I mentioned earlier, the list priority take precedence. By default, it have 1000, so I'm going with the 1000 here, and the direction of traffic. So I'm for the VM instance, it is incoming traffic, and the action should match allow and the specified target. So here we can select, as I mentioned, that you can drill down. So you want to apply this firewall rule for all the instance which is running from, I mean, which is attached to the VPC network, or you want to specify tags like some instance you can attach tags, and that tag should be matched with the this firewall rule, so that only this firewall rule will apply to the VM instance or service account. You can also just click on it, and you can just select the service account. So if that instance running with this VPC network can attach this any service account is just mentioning it here, this firewall rule is applied. But for this lab, I'm going to do all instance in the network and the network IP ranges. So I'm just going to allow IP here for swing and specified protocols and port. So here, like we are going to test the connectivity, right? So I'm just going to say CMP protocols and just create it. So once it get created, so here the connection it is not reached to the VM network, right? So once we created the firewall rule. Now you can see it, right? The connection from my local machine, it's reaching to the VM instance. This is like how you can use a firewall in order to restrict and allow that incoming traffic here. So this is like all the things like creating VPC networks and how to create a firewall and how you can configure that VPC network to the instance and how you can follow the traffic from any external machine to your VM instance workload. So this is overall about this video. And the next part of video, so we are going to discuss about the VPC peering. So the for VPC peering, this is the requirement we are going to create. So we are going to have like a different VPC network, and the two different VPC network will have two different VM instances will be running on it. So by default, the connectivity between these two instances will not be reachable because there's two different network, right? So to make those connectivity happen via private IP, so we are going to configure the VPC peering.